Today I'm turning this empty glass jar into a thriving forest floor. But who will be living there, you ask? Well, the ultimate terrarium freeloader, hitchhiker of plants, the garlic snail. These little guys are usually appearing seemingly out of nowhere in establishing terrariums. Some are annoyed with them, but I think they're awesome. Stick around until the end to see the finished build. I think you'll find it to be worth the wait. The jar itself is pretty neat, but the wooden lid makes placement important for light to get in properly. A window placement is therefore necessary. Let's get started with the build, shall we? I will use sand as a decorative drainage layer in this build. A drainage layer stops standing water from killing the roots of the plants, but it's best not to overwater at all. After pouring in the sand, I even it out using my hand. The substrate mix I made for this build consists of orchid bark, sand, sphagnum moss, leaf litter, activated carbon, and organic topsoil. This mix has worked really well for me before. I'll add in a generous layer given that the container is pretty tall and has plenty of room to work with. For hardscape, I'm keeping it simple with a single river rock and a small cork branch. I really like the contrast between the smooth rock and the jagged edges of the bark. I place in the rock first. Then I add the cork round so it leans on top of the rock. This is the hardscape all done. What do you think so far? Now that the hardscape is done, it's time for the fun to begin. These are all native mosses to where I live, and they have been rehydrating in the water for a couple of hours before planting. They'll still look a bit brown, but they should come around soon enough. Moss gives a new level of texture to a terrarium and should be included in every build in my opinion. Using different mosses makes for a varied forest floor, which is a cool touch. Now it's time to start adding it to the terrarium. I tried to cover the entire bottom of the jar, adding the taller species in the back. Even though the moss are plants, I somehow see them as hardscape as I work on my builds. It's already starting to look pretty natural. The flatter pieces of moss can wrap around the front of the terrarium, and the transition towards the rock is complete. All of a sudden it looks like something that has been there forever, don't you agree? This is the moss down, fully decked out forest floor, and now all we need are some plants. Ferns are the perfect background plants for builds like this. They do a great job of making any scape look more lush. I poke a hole in the substrate for easier planting. Then I add the fern in place. I then repeat the same thing on the other side of the jar. And in the second fern goes. Next up, we need some more detail, I think. The perfect accent plants in builds like this one is Fittonia, and this pink one is just too cool looking. I then switch it up in some places and add a white variety. Wherever it looks a bit sparse, I add a pop of color. Adding a tiny white one just next to the pink made all the difference in this corner of the build. And it's time for the halftime spray down. You know it by now. Now it's time to add some life to this build, and it starts with the smallest. Springtails are tiny hexapods that feed on mold and decaying matter. This makes them perfect little cleaners in any terrarium. This footage is sped up to show you how they move around as I add them to the enclosure. Now it's time to finally add the main residents of the terrarium, the garlic snails. I think these are such cool little creatures, and they always show up for free. They don't seem to enjoy the lid I put them on, so let's get them into their brand new forest, shall we? Let's go guys, your new home awaits. This build has been so much fun, and it shows a terrarium doesn't have to be expensive or advanced in construction. Literally anyone can make something like this. The glass is from IKEA, and the plants in hardscape are all readily available and affordable as well. This shot of two snails that look like they are chasing each other is just too cute for me. Let me know what you think of this build in the comments below. I really like it. If you want to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing, I'd be super grateful. Thanks for watching. Now I'll stop talking and leave you with some final shots of the snails exploring the forest floor I just made for them. Have a great day and don't miss my next video. Thank you.